How's it going? Well, we're seeing how a drone may have caused a fire, this at a fuel tank in Kuwait International Airport. Emergency teams assure that they are working at the scene. How have you been? Let's discuss current world events and what we're seeing here.
Here we are seeing the impact of an Iranian ballistic missile on the center of Israel a few hours ago. By the way, there was a strong attack.
A strong attack. This, shows that no, the situation is not stopping. It's just, the Japanese markets opened and apparently the reserves are working because the price of oil went down, but now it's going up again. Let's just say this situation hasn't been brought under control. Well, we're also seeing there, an Iranian drone that apparently struck a fuel storage facility at Kuwait International Airport. It's part of what we're seeing right now. How have you been? How's it going? Let's go now to the information being reported from Kuwait, where they're already preparing for a possible nuclear leak. Let's get into the details. Let's listen to what they've been told, what instructions they're being given.
When crossing the region, it's necessary to establish some rules to guarantee the complete safety of citizens and residents. We'd like to draw your attention to the following. What?
No, there's no need to shut down or panic in case of radioactive leaks in neighboring countries, since the nearest reactor is more than 240 kilometers from the state of Kuwait.
And is this distance enough? By itself, it reduces the impact of radioactive leaks, since most of it settles along the way before reaching Kuwait's borders. There is no...
But to ensure complete safety, the following must be done. Make sure you are safe inside your home and do not leave it. Completely close the windows and doors to prevent these contaminants from entering. Listen to the news from official sources, that is, to receive the rest of the instructions at the appropriate time.
Well, that's part of the message they're giving. We were looking at the map there. Kuwait is already telling its population to be careful, but why? Why? With this place, what's happening? What's going on in this area? Well, let's get closer. What we're seeing here, this point, let's put it exactly here. This is the nuclear plant in Bushehr, in Iran, 248 kilometers from Kuwait. What they were saying, 240 kilometers, more or less the same, this is the nuclear plant. Well, they have been reporting attacks, this time by the United States and Israel. In this war, as the OYA had already warned, be careful with attacking nuclear plants. And this has been detected. That's why Kuwait asks, what's happening?
Exactly. Today, Iran claims that the Bushehr nuclear plant was attacked again by the United States and Israel. We agreed that this already happened about a week ago, if I'm not mistaken. And the OYA also emphasizes that yes, the United States and Israel attacked the plant and that a flying object crashed into the grounds of the facility. This was also reported by the Iranian state news agency, which is called Islamic Republic News Agency. So, quoting the Office of the Independent Auditor statement, it shares that this happened at approximately 9:08 p.m. local time, that is 9:08 at night on the 24th. And according to their statement, the United States and Israel attacked the central area of Bushehr again. A flying object hit inside the plant's premises. Initial reports indicate that the incident has not caused any economic, technical, or human losses, and that several areas of the electric power plant have not been affected. And that's what they wrote. The attack is part of the hostile actions being carried out by the United States and Israel. We have to remind ourselves that there is no ceasefire.
This is happening today, the night of March 24th. According to Iranian authorities, the flying object hit, as Street says, the grounds of the nuclear plant. Reports state that the reactors were not affected. This, as you rightly point out, has basically been what they call a high-risk attack. An attack that they say, although it did not cause any casualties and did not cause significant damage. This raises the risk of a military escalation to another level. We have seen that Iran has also launched attacks very close to Israel's nuclear facilities. So each time it escalates further and they get closer to facilities that shouldn't be touched, that really shouldn't be. Come on, the protocols required by the International Atomic Energy Agency, the organization in charge of nuclear security worldwide. Well, it says, look, at 40 kilometers, there shouldn't even be any. Troops should stay as far away as possible from these types of nuclear plants, but obviously that's not happening. And so the warning now coming from Kuwait is a call for calm, very much about preparing civilians, like saying everyone stay calm, this is step one, this is step two. The final steps will only be discussed if the event happens, if the situation occurs. But well, we're talking about there already being a fear of a possible nuclear leak in case there's another attack on this area. It's not something that I insist. It doesn't matter about the war. It doesn't matter which side you're on or anything. It's about attacks on your nuclear zones. That should never be done. Isn't that what has been requested? Also in Zaporizhia, there in Ukraine itself, or also when there was an attack near Chernobyl, where there was also an attack that left a huge hole in the protective roof of this dome, which is supposed to prevent nuclear radiation from escaping from the site. But well, in the face of all this conflict, a demand is made by Iran. And this also draws attention because it's a demand in which basically they don't want to negotiate. Iran has presented a series of demands to the United States in the context of a possible negotiation. The first demand is economic compensation for the losses suffered during the war. Tehran also believes that human, economic, and infrastructure damages must be repaired. The second key demand is formal control of the Strait of Hormuz, one of the most important oil routes in the world. In other words, just imagine Iran is asking to control the Strait of Hormuz, they would be the ones controlling this area. Iran also demands, among other things, that there be no limitations on its missile program or that they be able to have whatever ballistic missiles they want. This means no restrictions would be accepted, as Israel requested. By the way, another condition is to receive guarantees that the United States will not take military action against Iran. Looking ahead, well, also within these agreements, and that's one of the most striking things that shows they really don't want to negotiate, because they say and ask the United States that if they want a ceasefire, then all the United States bases in the Middle East would have to leave. They would have to get out of there. So you say to yourself, well, that's not wanting to negotiate, that's asking for everything and every possible red line. In response to this, Reuters has, well, there's a very interesting analysis of what's happening exactly.
According to Reuters, well, even though the president seems very confident that this agreement will happen, every day he comes out and basically says it's a done deal, it seems that this agreement will not be accepted by the Iranians. According to Reuters reports, after leaks from high-ranking Israeli officials, they added that Tehran is very unlikely to accept the United States demands. And the officials indicate that the demands expected from Trump include, for example, limitations on Iran's nuclear and ballistic missile issues. While the United States, Iran, does not want its ballistic program to be limited. I'm going to make that very clear. And well, since yesterday, Trump was saying that they were going to abandon the nuclear issue. Trump has stated that, well, the talks have been very good, very productive, but that it does seem complicated. That Iran accepts what the United States is asking for, just as the United States accepts this, for example, regarding the bases or the missiles.
In other words, Trump is also making his moves. According to reports, Donald Trump is pressuring to reach an agreement that limits Iran's nuclear program and ballistic missiles. As we know, we were talking about it today. Wang Yi, the person in charge of foreign affairs of China, reportedly spoke with Abbas Araghchi, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Iran. And supposedly he pressured him to negotiate so that the whole situation would calm down, but it seems that this is not going to happen. Let's see.
Do you see it complicated on both sides?
What are they saying? This is on television?
This is on Iranian television. This is super interesting to watch. It's the same, but from opposing sides, right?
Okay, let me tell our dear people that you mentioned the issue of the coast and coastal operations. We must tell the people that the Iranian armed forces are 100% prepared in case the Americans make any mistake in the region. They will definitely conduct coastal operations and seize the coasts of Bahrain and the Emirates. Very significant exercises have been carried out in this coastal sense. Entering the coasts of the Emirates and Bahrain is on the agenda and in the exercises of our armed forces. This way, we'll change the equations.
Advance by land?
In this way, we will change the equations so that, God willing, the details and coordinates will be left for later. We will change the equations so that the enemy...
Well, he says, well, he makes threats directly from this conflict that seems to never end. And what you see in the Iranian media is very similar to what you see in the Western media. saying, well, that they are already winning, that they are going to operate like this, that they are going to destroy like this. But really, from over there, the view is that this continues. Now, I send a big greeting and thanks to DKL Master. Greetings all the way to Tijuana. A big greeting to Tijuana. How have you been? He says. Your live notifications are coming through. Look, that happens sometimes. Ideally, because yes, it's a recurring issue that people have mentioned to us, the best thing would be to click on the little bell, right? Let's see if that helps. And Telegram, all the notifications, or Telegram, WhatsApp, where we only send the live notifications. I mean, we say we're live now, right? And well, that's an issue, isn't it? Hopefully we can do that now when it's possible. Suddenly, if we try to repeat the message, for example, through Twitter, WhatsApp, Facebook, so they get the message and stay informed without having to watch it later, even if it's delayed, especially at this hour. Normally we go live around 9, sometimes we try for 8:30 when possible, but well, thank you very much DKL Master and the whole community. Marcelo, how have you been? Raul and Antonio, greetings to Guadalajara, how are you? Let's move on then to other important matters as well. But first, there are still several points about the Iran topic that we need to discuss.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. You are absolutely right. Never in history has a modern army, Iran had a modern army, a modern navy, a modern air force, modern air defenses, leadership, a huge bunker. Never has a modern army been so quickly and historically annihilated, defeated from the very first day with overwhelming firepower. The air campaign that we have carried out that Israel has conducted alongside us was truly worthy of the history books. And this is because we have a president of the United States who, when he sends his fighters to war, unleashes their hands so that they can really go out, confront, and destroy the enemy as fiercely as possible from the very first moment. And that's why we also see ourselves as part of this negotiation. We negotiate with bombs, they have a choice. While we hover over Tehran, as the president mentioned, over their future, the president has made it clear that you will not have a nuclear weapon. The Department of War agrees. Our job is to ensure that, and that's why we keep our hand on that accelerator, right? As long and as forcefully as necessary to ensure that the interests of the United States of America are met on that battlefield. This is not Iraq or Afghanistan. This is not a president who is interested in vague end results. He has been very clear with us about what we must achieve, to create the conditions so that they never have nuclear capability. And that is exactly what we are doing in a historic way. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, so this is the message from Pete Hesse, from the Secretary of War or Secretary of Defense. The head of the Pentagon, basically what he says is that they negotiate with bombs. That's a message that will go down in history as one of the strangest phrases, and that justifies for many countries that are enemies of the United States, well, arming themselves to the teeth, they say. That's how a Secretary of Defense or of War is negotiating and thinking. You might ask, how can you negotiate with bombs? I mean, you might be able to negotiate with one, but these kinds of messages only create weakness in the long run. In what sense? In the sense that those who consider themselves enemy countries say, I don't want to negotiate with bombs, but if I have to, then I'll get ready. And later on, well, no. It starts to become a global escalation. These kinds of messages don't make any sense. Well, it's basically the basic reading of the art of war, right? It's the message you should give the least. It would be this one, right? Shouldn't it really be this one? I imagine that inside the Pentagon, they must be thinking about what strategies they're going to follow to later restore the balance to how things were. Because we have to remember that right now the United States is facing a series of challenges. Which ones? That their allies haven't wanted to take action. In other words, the allies have joined together, but not to take action, just to say, let's talk, let's have a dialogue. And it's not that they don't want to. I mean, I'm sure that under other circumstances, they would have entered the conflict without a problem. The problem is that they don't feel safe right now. With just a hint that says he negotiates with war or with bombs, no, or that he wants peace through force. And these kinds of comments don't really help the Europeans, who are the main alliance, along with New Zealand, Canada, and Australia, who, well, right now are distrustful. They say, how am I supposed to trust you? If you want to take Greenland from us, no. How am I supposed to trust you? If at the first chance, well, let's say you're going to want to invade, right? That's obviously a huge issue, and, well, besides, it draws attention. Like the cabinet, Trump's closest people, his inner circle, always have to come out and, well, now they really have to shine his shoes, right? So it doesn't sound so bad for Donald Trump. I mean, is this crazy? Or how is it possible that they don't have that much dignity? No, zero dignity. There's no dignity at all. You have to say that's the best. You look great. What a hairstyle. What a nice hairpiece, whatever. But the point is that this constant rhetoric of praising this person really stands out, doesn't it? And well, within all of this, there have also been several reactions happening around the world, especially because of the deployment we're seeing from the United States. They warn that approximately 1,000 United States soldiers are about to be deployed this time. You already know, it's in the Middle East. As far as is known, there is a unit that includes a command, a general staff, and an immediate response battalion. This brigade will be a unit that, they say, is already ready in the region, prepared to intervene in a situation. If this gets worse, this movement will happen with troops. At least 1,000 soldiers would be coming in. Iran has denied the negotiations, and this moves the pieces toward a conflict already with troops on the ground. I think that, as you can see, Iran is what wants this. Thank you. I mean, what Iran wants is to have troops inside, and that's basically what they're betting on, to have troops inside. Because they need to see actions. They want to show that they can stand face to face with the United States. Even though this sounds really strange, but that's the approach. If you look at all their statements and what they're saying, basically their statements could be summarized. We want to watch the world burn. With that, it would be perfectly summarized. The Joker or someone like that couldn't have written it, because honestly, the way they've been responding is just mind-blowing. We see in Iran, well, even though they want to sell us the idea that it's already over, they've really hit it hard. No one is denying it, but it's facing its greatest challenge. I mean, it's not holding back the attacks, and not only is it not holding back, but I insist it seems like, on the contrary, it wants them, like speeding them up.
It's not exactly actually, well, right now. Some analysts say that the attacks on Israel started after Trump claimed that the agreement would be made. That it would be, from that point on, the level of attacks in that region has increased and many civilian areas have been attacked. For example,
what we were saying is how we knew that he doesn't want to negotiate if there were strong attacks. And what has happened since Trump started claiming that negotiations were taking place is that the attacks began to increase. In other words, a demonstration that they are not looking to negotiate.
And the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia keeps insisting that's what he says. Well, what is known, what has been leaked, is that I have been calling Donald Trump to ask him, well, actually, no, that a more decisive blow should be dealt to Iran, that it needs to be removed at the root. At the end of the day, if Trump reaches this agreement, he washes his hands of it and returns to the United States. But Saudi Arabia and Iran's neighbors are left with a huge problem, an Iran that could become even more empowered. Because at the end of the day, what the United States is asking for isn't much either. It's like, don't enrich anymore, they say. Give up the reserves of highly enriched uranium, hand over or control approximately 450 kilograms of uranium enriched to 60% and suspend enrichment. United Nations inspection, limitation of the range of ballistic missiles, and reduction of support to regional allies, which is very easy to maneuver. By the way, we forgot to mention this about Iran. It also asks, among other things, that Israel not attack Hezbollah, which Israel is definitely not going to stop doing.
If you think about it, there's a radical group right on the border attacking you. Iran is going to say, no, there's no way Iran would accept something like that, which is not responding to these kinds of attacks against Hezbollah. I mean, there's a good Let's go to several more messages from Trump and also from the spokesperson of the Revolutionary Guard, because there are several messages pending in that sense. Were you going to say something else?
Yes, also, I'm not sure if you mentioned this, but Iran is asking for no limits on their ballistic missile range.
I mean,
people also say, well, they just asked him to resurrect Alicante. That's all they missed.
That's right. Well, let's go to this message.
Disappointed. I don't want to say this, but I have to, said Pete. And General Racing Kane, I think this is going to be resolved very soon. And they said, oh, that's too bad. I wanted it to be resolved. Is it? These guys are doing a great job, but that's a good attitude, right, Tom? They weren't interested in reaching an agreement. They were only interested in winning. This, yes, please.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Floor says here, and we send her a big greeting, she says. If Israel and Pakistan have nuclear weapons, why not Iran? Well, the answer they give is, first, because it's a democratic country, and second, because it's not a country that's constantly saying it wants to wipe even its biggest enemy, which is India, off the map. They're never saying they want to erase it, make it disappear from the map. The Iranians, yes, Iranians constantly, and not just Israel, they want to wipe the West off the map too. That's what Ali Khamenei has said. When he's alive, week after week, for decades he has been saying that. That's, well, maybe a small difference, but at the same time it's important, right? Another issue is also the message given by the spokesperson of the Revolutionary Guard, who, as always, sends out some pretty intense messages. Let's listen to what he has said, shall we?
En el nombre de... Sorry, I can't translate this because it isn't a valid sentence. Americans against Iran, considered an important pillar in the Islamic world, that country which has always been at the forefront of defending the Islamic nation. In the face of unjust aggression, and especially because of what the oppressed Palestinian people are suffering, it has demonstrated the sincerity of its commitment to this path, offering the purest and most precious blood, especially in two direct face-to-face wars. However, the time has come for us, as Muslims, to return to the word of Almighty God in the Holy Quran. Do not take them as allies until they emigrate for the cause of God, but if they turn away, seize them and kill them wherever you find them, and do not take any of them as an ally or helper. God, blessed and exalted be He, has explicitly forbidden Muslims from handing over control of their affairs to the unbelievers.
Well, that's the message. Look.
A reconciled message?
That's the answer to Flory. That's why they don't want to have Maddox. They want the Muslims basically to wipe out what they consider their enemy and to take the version of the Quran that they have. I mean, Shiism, which has an extreme expansionist idea where you're either with them or against them. It's that simple. Imagine these people with nuclear weapons. They won't hesitate to use them whenever they feel like it. I mean, they're already using them against their own neighbors. They're using all the weapons they have, not just one day, but day after day after day. When you see the message, and I'm just showing a small part of it, because the message is an absurd rhetoric of extreme radicalism. And that's why the Arab countries are now questioning at what point they're going to start operating and attacking. Because this situation, obviously they don't want to have it there anymore, period. They just don't want it anymore. They already know that if this regime stays there, stays active, they're going to have an increasingly dangerous enemy in front of them. How many? At 200 kilometers, well, in some areas at 35 kilometers away, 33 kilometers away to be exact. In the beautiful strait between Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, and this is Oman, and this whole area, which is this little piece where if we measure the distance, not this one, well, obviously we're going to see a distance between here and here of about 30 something kilometers. I mean, it's obviously tremendous, right? Now let's remove this measurement and let's put this measurement just to see more or less the calculation of how close they are in this area, right? I mean, let's see if we can put it around there and measure the distance. It's this one, not here. The key. Don't hit me.
Click it, then click the other side or it sweeps.
Yeah. I mean, it's measuring distance, and then here, no, that's it. I mean, just right there. So if we go like this without measuring too much, it says about 70 kilometers there. And if we go to the closest point, well, we can see how the distance is minimal. It's not really an amazing thing. Now, at this point, they're at a very, very minimal distance because the ships pass through this area, which is the deep parts. Yeah, from here, just imagine how long it would take for a missile or whatever you want to travel this distance. You put 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 mines, however many, and now you have a problem because how do you cross such a short distance? They estimate about 12 mines have already been installed. This is an issue that obviously has also put the Arab countries on alert. Because we're talking about not only having destroyed, for example, 17% of the refining capacity or the gas export capacity of the Qataris. No, they say they'll solve it in about 5 years. I mean, they'll have the possibility to solve it in 5 years. Qatar? I mean, they've already taken away a fifth of their gas capacity, right? They're not going to have it for 5 years, and that's it. They took it away in a single day. Yes, so obviously this is a risk, not just for Qatar. Not just that it's huge, but for all the countries that obviously need that kind of energy. Let's move on to other important matters as well, he says. And what about compensation for what Iran destroyed in neighboring countries, in Israel, right? And, well, how many attacks has it carried out on different bases in Iraq against Syria, right? I mean, they kept Bashar al-Assad in power in Syria for decades. Everything this person did, why is it that...
Against his own people, so in short...
And the list is long, I won't... Here you can see it. That would be an attack with a B-52. Where did this happen?
This happened in Iran. The attacks hit an industrial city called Al-Bors in Qasim, and it's a center linked to the regime's military production. Important industrial facilities have been targeted, and it is claimed that Iran's military and industrial infrastructure is what's being destroyed right now.
Well, that's how it is. That's the situation. The thing is, well, this is part of what's happening right now, and well, what we're seeing are attacks at a tremendous level. No, there are no possibilities for negotiation at the moment. Let's go to the reactions to what's happening with oil. Look, these would be the missile launches that are happening right now in the Middle East, in Iran by the way, which reportedly has launched 80 waves of attacks against United States infrastructure bases throughout the region at Gulf neighbors and also towards Israel.
That's from the beginning of the war up to today. Do you share these images?
Well, it's impressive the kind of missiles that are being launched, ballistic missiles, missiles that leave the atmosphere. And, well, sometimes they come in with cluster warheads to cause more damage. That's part of what's happening, part of this conflict that's going on. And by the way, we also have to keep an eye on what's happening with oil because, well, that's what affects everyone. Look, yesterday it was achieved. I mean, yesterday for us it's the 24th, still the 24th to be clear, the 24th. This drop in price happens when the Asian markets open, possibly because of the oil reserves issue. But now it's morning, or they're already, well, going up. They're going up to $99, heading back to $100 again. They managed to bring the price down for a moment, but, well, it seems that's not happening. Let's put it this way. Let's look at it like this. This is how it is every day. We're looking at it by day, not by hour. This is the moment when they tried to control it. The price went up to $97 for Brent and up to $99. And it looks like it's struggling to go back up even more. What is this going to depend on? Well, on what? The attacks by Iran on different parts of the Arab countries are being closely watched. As long as there are attacks, the possibility obviously exists or increases. At the same time, it is being reported that what would be a movement, an invasion, is already being prepared. Well, at the end of the day, that's what is going to happen right now in this territory. Towards Lebanon, according to what is being reported and what Israel itself has announced, they are going to create what they call a security zone in Lebanon. Israel is moving north, and the idea is that they did not have an agreement with the government of Lebanon. If the deal was, did you have a date by which you were going to control Hezbollah, Peru, or Lebanon? They haven't achieved it, so what does Israel say? They weren't able to control it. We are going to enter and we are going to advance to a point where we are going to establish a security belt. Israel announced that it plans to occupy a wide security zone in southern Lebanon. That occupation, they say, would be temporary up to the Litani River. If the idea is that this is a strategic line, to obviously say yes. If they cross from there, Hezbollah will be attacked, which is what they've been told, to disarm and withdraw, all the way back to the Litani River. Let's see where this famous Litani River is in Lebanon, so we can locate it exactly. Look, there it is, that's roughly the river. Now let's zoom out a bit, let's see if you can spot it, that's the Litani River. Yes, so here's the border with Israel. Let's make the map a bit clearer, it's this one, right? So, if we go to the Litani River and measure the distance, we're not going to measure the distance from here to the closest point on the border. There it is. It's 12 kilometers, obviously. Well, it depends on where. All of this is the border with Israel. If we measure up to here, it's 30 kilometers. The farthest point from the border would be 49 kilometers. All this area would have Israeli troops. Obviously, there will be certain points, right? It's not that they're going to cover everything, but there will be points where they will be, so that Hezbollah moves from this river over there to the north to the back. Reports say the advance continues as Israel steps up bombings on Hezbollah positions. Hezbollah has been launching rockets and attacks towards southern Lebanon, toward northern Israel, and from Israel, toward southern Lebanon, mainly south of Lebanon. Bombardments toward this area, the south of Beirut, which has also been dealing with tremendous issues. The movement can be interpreted as a kind of partial ground invasion, not just airstrikes. Iran could become indirectly involved since Hezbollah is their main ally in that area.
Something not necessarily airstrikes. The movement could be seen as ground action by Hezbollah, Iran's ally.
Iran area, Hezbollah, well, right now.
It has just been reported that a missile hit Lebanon after the envoy, the ambassador from Tehran, was expelled from Beirut. Given the refusal to control Hezbollah, it's important to remember that Hezbollah, after all, is affiliated with Iran. They are their main sponsors. And well, this missile fired from Iran struck the Lebanese coast hours after this expulsion, according to reports from Iran International. And they contradict comments that it had been intercepted, meaning that it really did hit. The projectile was not intercepted in the airspace, as the Lebanese claimed. And the strike happened shortly before Lebanon declared the Iranian ambassador, Mohammad Reza Rouf Sheibani, persona non grata and ordered his expulsion. Lebanese Foreign Minister Youssef Raghi also stated today on X that the decision had been formally communicated and that the envoy must leave the country before March 29.
Well, that's the situation. It's not well part of what's happening.
Well, right now there's an attack happening. There was an attack, it's just minutes ago in Israel, and Israeli media are already reporting that at least 9 people have been injured in Bnei Brak by Iranian cluster bomb munitions. A bomb, they say, of small caliber hit the center of Israel while Iran launched 13 salvos throughout Tuesday. And the Israel Defense Forces of Israel claim to have attacked the main explosives facility near Isfahan. We saw this today, and well, this attack happened. We're also in one. This is the latest one. But there was a previous attack where a woman lost her life and 2 others were injured. This happened when a projectile hit Mahanaim, Hakson, also in Israel.
Here's how it is. Warm regards to the community, and thank you for your comments. And well, people ask or wonder more or less what Israel's democracy is like. To give us an idea, because sometimes there's not much knowledge about this since there are so many comments because of the conflicts. Everything gets polarized. But there is an index, the Democracy Index from the Economist Intelligence Unit, according to this index, which more or less measures levels of democracy. It rates Israel's democracy as a flawed democracy with problems at the same level as Spain and the United States. I mean, the United States is a democracy, but it has many flaws. Well, they're ranked somewhere between 20th and 30th, more or less, so it's not one of the most advanced or purest democracies. Not at all. If there are 20 to 30 countries above that democracy, Israeli, right, but also above many other countries, practically all of Latin America. It's about more or less at the level of Spain, which also has its problems and also has corruption, just like in Israel, just like in other places. Now, if we go, well, to Iran, right? I mean, if we go to Iran, well, you can imagine, but I mean, let's look at the level, right? To begin with, internationally, Iran is classified as an authoritarian regime. For the simple fact, right, that they have a supreme leader as the highest authority, right? The classification, according to the analyses, according to what this topic is about, is that they have one. They call it selective democracy, right? A selective democracy, or also a theocracy, right? Which basically bases its... Are we going to call their government an interpretation of a religious book? Basically, right? Because besides, it's an interpretation that they give, you know? I mean, that's the issue. There, according to the reports, they indicate a poor rating in civil liberties, pluralism, and so on. Now, this doesn't mean that they are superior or inferior. That's what we're talking about. The population is the population. And in the end, the friends we've had who have gone, for example, to Israel, tell us, look, you actually live together. Israelis live with Palestinians and with other Christian communities much more than it seems, and so on. Much more than people imagine. People basically think that they are fighting all day, and that's not the case. No, right here, Israelis who watch the program, because there are a lot of Hispanics in Israel, tell us, Pepe, look, we have friends in Iran, we have friends in Palestine, in Syria. Or let's say, no, that kind of thing isn't really experienced here. I think sometimes in the chat it's experienced more, even more.
The vibe.
More clashes sometimes due to certain people showing up. That's what you really experience there, right? I mean, so, you know, tone down that kind of stuff a bit. I don't know, attitudes. Yeah, attitudes that are kind of toxic. But in the end, I get it, because I think we all get upset when we see bad things that governments do. And definitely Netanyahu has a lot of questionable things that can be criticized, which we've said here over and over. Same with Trump. And obviously the supreme leader is also criticized. Well, the attitude he has had toward his own people is outrageous. That's how rulers are practically all over the world. I mean, not just in those countries, right? Those countries just take it to the extreme. But we live in a time when we are more observant of what happens in the world, much more informed now, and obviously it's outrageous. Since the world is like that to begin with, not like we have it in that sense, and we also have a lot of things to do ourselves. But governments have practically, or they represent, let's say, the worst part of power, right? That, let's say, how it is. How can we say like a kind of intoxication or addiction that suddenly happens? Power, we see it with Netanyahu, who does everything possible not to leave power. Yes, he's obsessed with power. He's a character who's on the path of an autocrat. He and Erdogan are heading that way. Turkey is going exactly to the same place. And if Trump can, if they give him a chance and the opportunity, he'll go for a third term. I mean, the addiction to power isn't just in one country. The addiction to power is human. Unfortunately, that's how it is. And well, let's move on to other matters, right? What else is going on?
Well, despite Donald Trump's comments, we have a tight schedule today. The Revolutionary Guard is empowered by this and claims that it has completely shut it down. and they are only allowing what they call countries or ships they consider non-hostile to pass. So which countries are those? To begin with, well, some might think that it's those who are not involved in the war, but no, it's actually very limited. For example, India, Pakistan, Turkey, and Thailand, they are the only ones currently authorized to pass. This is after bilateral coordination. There may be countries that could have achieved this passage, but they weren't interested. They don't use it, not because of Mexico, since they really don't use it, right? So, well, Iran confirms this blockade, and they announce that they will only allow passage to those ships they consider non-hostile, which are countries that do not participate in actions against Iran. And, well, the United States, obviously Israel, and allied countries have been excluded from this transit. A few days ago, I heard an analyst say that the ships from the United States and Israel, they haven't been given insurance for a long time because of this. Because, well, there are many who are against them, especially in that specific area.
They have a lot of enemies there. And well, the insurance companies, literally, they don't go for security.
Security. No, they don't want to lose. They just want to win.
No, and the classic one, right? Like, I remember when we were asking for insurance once that we had for about a year. Oh, but do your children practice Taekwondo?
Yes, of course.
I mean, he already wanted to put clauses in there, you know, man, like, don't let them fall, don't put a helmet on when they run, because, well, sometimes people go overboard with that. There are a series of measures they're taking now that, well...
And, well, this movement, the Revolutionary Guard, is taking the lead on the list. Completely different, because we saw Donald Trump saying, well, he was bent over and everything. That it was going to be controlled by the United States and by the Ayatollah, whoever that is. Because basically he didn't know. You could see he was really fed up with the questions already. And, well, over there, they're taking the lead in this area. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard flaunts the power it has there because, well, they've already closed it off.
Well, so they closed the strait. It basically, that was the point where, well, it was like the final part of the conflict, right? That was like their ultimate weapon, basically.
Basically. We have to remember that the 48-hour ultimatum was for them to open the Strait of Hormuz. It wasn't for anything else.
There it is. We're missing not a few more days because he said it was 5 days, right? He said it on Monday. How much time is left until Friday? I think it's until Friday. Well, I mean, now I really do see with these troops entering Iran, unless the calculation is very different. And right now you're going to hear bombings and bombings, but you don't see, I mean, I hear a lot of bombings. You can see them. You see them in the images. But you say, where is that decrease they keep talking about? I mean, you keep seeing missiles, you keep seeing drones, you keep seeing an attitude, well, that this is going to go on, right? I mean, honestly, yeah, in that sense, I don't know. Look, yes, they do serve the Ukrainians, right? I mean, with much less budget, without the oil that Iran has, without the time that Iran has been preparing, which is decades, right? And yes, with very limited support. Because when I promised them at NATO, we said, we're going to send you missiles. Sometimes 8 months or even a year would pass without them arriving. So, well...
There are planes that are promised that won't arrive until 2028, 2027. Hopefully, with some luck, the war will be over by then.
But anyway, the thing is, even so, they've put up a fight, right? I mean, even so, they've prolonged the war 4 years. You say, with a force that, in theory, Russia was supposed to be the second most powerful country militarily. And no, I mean, they couldn't do it, and having them as neighbors, no. In this case, well, Iran, I think that's the calculation, right? Or Iran's calculation is a war of attrition. I mean, yes, we already have a crisis, they say, and in the end, that's the, let's say, the advantage, obviously, in quotes, for them, not an advantage for them of not being a democracy, because no one is going to replace them. It's not like, oh, there are elections and they have to convince people and all that. I mean, no, right? They do have some public positions that change. Like Masoud Pezeshkian himself, who is the Iranian president. With or without Masoud Pezeshkian, it's the same. Those in control still dominate. It's really the Revolutionary Guard, the Basij, and all these kinds of groups that have an opposition. But it's a very weak opposition because they've made sure that opposition doesn't exist. So they can wage that war of attrition just like, for example, in this case, Ukraine can. They say to stretch it out as much and as long as possible. And even though they know that if suddenly the aid is lost, they have to have strategies for how to solve it. That's why now we see that Ukraine is making its own missiles, its own drones, because you can't just depend on that. Iran has done the same, but for many years now. I mean, they've been preparing and they have some of their weapons that are largely made with their own materials. I mean, for the most part, and some from China.
Exactly. I mean, just so we can see that it hasn't happened before, Iran just 20 minutes ago launched missiles, and they announced it to Israel, Bahrain, Kuwait, and Jordan.
Now remember that Jordan is well armed. Jordan hasn't wanted to get involved in the conflict as far as I know. Jordan has been one of the least attacked Arab countries so far. It's surprising that they're attacking Jordan now, right? It's Jordan, Bahrain, Israel, Kuwait, right? And what else?
Bahrain, Kuwait, Israel, and Jordan.
Well, there it is. That's part of what's happening and what isn't. There's no sign of how this is going to change, right? The drop in oil prices was handled pretty well, up to a point. I mean, reaching $97, that's not bad at all. But now it's at 99.87, and it looks like it's going to keep going. Right, yes.
Yes, wait, what did they give Trump? I'm intrigued, or is Trump lying? No, well, the truth is that he didn't even want to show it. Yes, it's ridiculous, isn't it? Because at another time, I think if a president had said something about the United States, well, you tended to believe him more. But right now, we're at a point where that's not the case. No, we don't know whether to believe Iran or the United States. It's really bad.
Who's telling the truth in this conflict? Honestly, it's hard to know. What we can look at are, well, certain facts, certain reports, also from international media, from independent outlets, some of which have access to these areas. That's how you begin piecing together the puzzle to understand the situation. But what comes out and is sold seems very distant and not very believable. This pit case who says we wiped everything out, yeah, I mean, wiping out with bombs, I think it's clear that he has the capability. There's no doubt that you're destroying bases. There are the images. The Iranians themselves have also shown images of the explosions. I mean, the population has been recording all of that. So it's clear that there is a destruction of infrastructure, Iranian infrastructure. I have no doubt about that part. That's not the issue. Since you logically have that capability and it's much superior, there's practically no Iranian Air Force left, practically no Iranian Navy left. But that's not their real bet. They're aiming to control the Strait of Moose. That's the point. When he comes out and says, here we have control of the Strait of Moose, and that he can prove it. Look, ships are already passing through without any problem. The insurance companies are offering normal insurance, normal prices. Oil is at $70, $60 or less, he says. Now I believe you really swept through and achieved true control in that area. Meanwhile, it's not believable. I mean, it's believable that they bombed. Yes, that's believable. It's believable that they destroyed a good part of the infrastructure. Visible? Yes, the visible part. It's clear that you've swept through it. I mean, that part. There's no doubt. The one that's underground, which is the invisible part, that's the one I have doubts about. Honestly, I don't think they've finished it or destroyed it, because if that were the case, there wouldn't be so many answers. Yes.
It's being reported on Israeli television.
Let's get into that detail.
Well, a big rumor is being revealed in Israel that, Israel always has Mossad agents inside the top ranks of Iran, and supposedly we're expecting some pretty explosive internal confrontations, and I'm not talking about bomb explosions in Iran.
Maybe,
but it could be one of those things. They could also target whoever is negotiating, though we don't know who that is. Maybe they could send him to the other world in a relationship. At a recent meeting, Gallaudet confronted a commander of the Revolutionary Guard Corps named Gidi, and she said to him, "You kept all the money and now your soldiers aren't getting paid. I don't trust that you can stop the United States on the island or in the strait. That..."
Sure. Look, well then...
Isn't this the one who's supposedly talking to them?
Yes, yes, yes. So is there a division between a visible political leader and another visible political leader, the most important one right now, which is Mohammed Bakr Galiji AF, who is supposedly the one Trump wants to negotiate with?
Isn't he seeing it as one from C. Rodriguez?
And he said no.
Yes.
But that's what he had to say. Obviously, he said no, that it's not true. I don't know what. But he and the Revolutionary Guard are at odds. Look, about 2 years ago, we had already mentioned here that the Supreme Leader... I left, I walked, he was no longer ruling, he was a symbolic figure, but he wasn't the one governing. The ones who were actually governing were precisely the Revolutionary Guard. When the 12-day war happened in June, we also told you here that it was obvious that this was real. I mean, that he was no longer governing. I left, I walked. Remember how the conflict happened? The conflict broke out and he didn't show up. I left, I walked, he didn't show up, he didn't show up. They bombed all the nuclear facilities and he didn't show up. He appeared almost at the end of the conflict with a message like this after a long time had passed. People even thought he had died. Yes, so there was no leadership. Right now, where is Mojtaba? No one knows where he is. If he's even alive, no one knows where he is. And this is very convenient for the Revolutionary Guard because what is the face of Iran? Right now there are two faces. The face of this character, not this individual, I don't know his name. This man, the spokesperson.
Not the spokesperson?
This one right here, who always comes out looking super smug. Or Abbas Aragashi, who is the political side, not Abbas Aragashi, just representing a bit of the classic Minister of Foreign Affairs, nothing more. You say he hasn't shown up at all. When? How many times has he appeared in almost a month of war? Already 4 weeks?
Twice.
He has appeared twice. Abbas Aragashi doesn't appear. It's as if the president doesn't exist. And how many times has the Supreme Leader appeared? 0 times. The Supreme Leader doesn't exist. There's no sense of him appearing, no messages from him, not even his voice. Whoever appears is this individual, Abbas Aragashi, this man who's always Mohammed, I don't know what, or he's like the president of the Congress. Yes. He's, let's say, the most visibly powerful political figure who could negotiate. They're not going to. The United States already said it won't negotiate with the Revolutionary Guard, not with Abbas. Even less likely, in any case, are they going to negotiate with this individual or with someone less extreme? That's the issue. So this is really crazy, right? I mean, that there are divisions or fights among them.
Of course, it was to be expected, right? They had differences for a long time, and let's move on to another story. We're going to go.
Thank you so much for everything, and thanks to the entire community supporting us. With a super chat, also through PayPal or logs or like that, there in the description, there are several ways to support us. Thank you so much to those who do it. Where are you going?
Well, the other day, I don't remember who from the Russian government, but let's say Russia came out and said that they didn't want this war to extend to the Caspian Sea. It wasn't very clear why, but now it's revealed why. Well, it turns out that Israel launched an attack against an Iranian naval base in Bandar Asali in the Caspian Sea. The attack destroyed at least 1 corvette and 2 Iranian missile boats. This loss represents about half of the warships that Iran has in that area. And the destroyed boats were Sina class, which are equipped with Nord anti-ship missiles, and the Jameset corvette served as a command ship for the Iranian flotilla in the Caspian Sea. This attacked port was not their main base, but rather a dispersal point for the forces. Analysts believe that this port was also used to receive weapons from Russia and then transport them to Iran. And the attack is part of the strategy with the United States and Israel to destroy their naval and missile capabilities.
We're looking at the distance between the Caspian Sea. There it is. We have to remember that Iran doesn't really have much of a coastline, so to speak. Because this isn't really a sea, even though it looks like one. The Caspian Sea is huge, it's gigantic, but it's actually a lake. It doesn't have a connection to the ocean. You see, unlike, for example, the Black Sea is actually connected to the ocean. There's the division right there by Turkey. It goes right through it. So you can sail comfortably in the sea and go to the Black Sea if you want, but you can't go to the Caspian Sea. So it's 1,400 kilometers of distance from Israel to this area. Let's zoom in exactly to the closest point to Iran. And it has to be the coast, not just because it was on the coast. No, like you said, if the attack was on the coast, it's 1,400 kilometers from Israel to this area. Most of the Caspian Sea belongs to Russia. That's why Russia doesn't want anyone coming in here. Russia has a fleet here. They keep watch here. Turkmenistan has part of the coast. No, Turkey doesn't have any. It's Iran in any case. Then it's Azerbaijan. And then Russia comes next. Georgia doesn't have anything here in the Caspian Sea either. So it's basically Azerbaijan, yes, Turkey, Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan, Iran, and Russia are the countries that have territory on the Caspian Sea. I don't think I'm missing another one, but that's the Caspian Sea, right? There are also issues and problems there. Tremendous. Greetings. How have you been? Fight, says Wilco. It's like they're really aggressive. In that sense, this one says greetings. How has Roble been? Huge greetings to Cuba. Wilco, how have you been? Who else is out there? Lagos Salado 7 says Wilco here. Who else is out there? Marcela, huge greetings to you too. Let's move on to other important matters. Just to remind you that we go live every day, sometimes for a long time, sometimes short. We mix it up. We try to make sure all the information comes out live so we can also get feedback from your comments, and we try, especially during long live streams, to have a reaction from the community here in the chat. And we try to show the comments during the broadcasts, especially the longer ones, so that at least some comments appear, right? Thank you so much, by the way, for being here. He says, 1,500 kilometers like from Mexico City, launching missiles to Sonora. That's crazy, he says. Poor world.
Actually, before we move on to the comments, in the comments, yes.
Yeah, I don't know if...
There's a movement happening, and it's very interesting from this, which is to say...
Bye.
From the United States. And they're fighting over the enlistment age, the recruitment of soldiers. And this is basically for everyone. It could be the regular army, the Army National Guard, and the Army Reserves. Well, those three are basically where you can enlist. And the age changes from 30 to 42 starting this month. This really draws a lot of attention. Obviously,
of course, they are extending the recruitment age for older people up to 42 years old, as happened in Russia, and I don't remember if in Ukraine too. I think it was in both countries. It happened because they are at war. Yes, right? That this is happening in the United States right now is way too early, he says. Wait. Talking about this being a special operation, not like the one...
It's a special operation.
Like Russia's. Isn't it supposed to be a special operation? It's not a war as such. Because you're extending the age, and because up to 42 it doesn't. I mean, yes, well, it really catches my attention that they're extending it to that age. Honestly, it's surprising. I mean, no, it's not that they can't recruit older people. They can if they want to. But let's say that making it mandatory up to 42, that's if they actually join, right?
And then this isn't the first time this has happened. They had already raised it to a maximum of 42 years before during the wars. They may not call them wars, but they're still combat operations. In Iraq and Afghanistan, they did exactly the same thing and lowered it back to 35 in 2016. So while it goes back up to 42 years old, because there's talk that if there's a recruitment crisis, many young people aren't interested in becoming soldiers. And well, besides the movements they're experiencing at that moment...
Of course, that's how things are. Not too much. Let's go to the comments. How have you been? How are you doing? Thank you so much. By the way, to the community watching us on replay, we haven't forgotten about you either. We know that most of you join later, even days after, so well, big greetings and thank you for being here. If you made it to this point in the video and you're watching us on replay, leave us a comment. Tell us, Pepe, I did make it to this point, and well, we really appreciate that, says Francisco. Oh well, he left.
They're going to call you to war, right? But Pepe isn't from the United States.
I'm not from the United States, but would you still go? I mean, I'm asking if you were in the United States and you had to, or in your own country. No, if there's a draft, would you go to war or would you refuse? Would you say, no, I'm not going? I mean, if it was up to you, not that they tell you you have to decide, but if you could choose whether to go or not, I think the same, or it depends. I mean, if it's a war...
Where you're going to invade, then no.
Exactly. If there's no reason, really, no. I mean, if they're invading you or something is happening or they just did something to you.
Yes, of course.
Wow. I mean, I feel like these kinds of things can be avoided with intelligence. I mean, that's what intelligence is for.
The diplomacy that doesn't exist
We open up and yes, even without diplomacy. I mean, if you want, I don't care about that. I mean, if you want, I'm going to go operate. That's what intelligence is for. I mean, that's how wars are avoided. A lot of bloodshed is prevented. And you can achieve the same effect even better, right? This way, without getting into so much trouble and without causing problems. In terms of how things are going, economically, etc., right? But anyway, he says, tell that to intelligence, Almosa. He says, greetings, Pixel, how are you? I mean, I think that's the key, right? I mean, intelligence. And Israel had already demonstrated it in the sense that it had limited Iran's nuclear progress to a certain extent. Also, maybe what they're calculating right now, because we don't know, maybe what they're calculating is that maybe the intelligence services of the United States or Israel had no longer managed to get into the depths where the nuclear facilities are located. Maybe over time, Iran's intelligence evolved and they said, we're blind at some point, right? Maybe it could be, I mean, it's kind of what happens with North Korea. I mean, with North Korea, they were blind until suddenly, surprise, there are nuclear weapons. The issue with North Korea is really complicated, but that's an example of how intelligence agencies can't do everything either. Sometimes no, so it's really tough, he says. Now the man is really leaving today. Yes, he's not well, he's a bit sick.
He's unwell and will skip it just like Trump did when he was young.
Yes.
No, greetings to Eric Marin, greetings to Aurelio. To go to Lagara, you have to be convinced of the cause. Well, to go voluntarily, yes.
Yes, voluntarily. That's what they're asking, right? Greetings, how have you been? And if I gave you art? Yes, I mean...
Greetings.
Greetings, how have you been?
For being a very good idea, ideas.
Greetings,
Perla, and I prefer jail over going to war. It seems insane to me to die for ideals and money, but also...
A good point. Health is very good. Tapatia, Eric Marino, how have you been? Very good, Perla. A big greeting. How have you been? What's new? Is that your kitten, Perla, or your female cat? Says Carivel. Where is Professor Mandon so he can do it? Him, says
Robles.
Says exam to Robles. It's just that he didn't get the exam. Robles and says...
I don't know why you have a dilemma.
Greetings.
Also, Eric says, greetings. Don't you feel like only the craziest ones from the Iranian regime are left? I don't see how all their neighbors, Israel and the United States, can let them stay in power. Whether it's true or not, they left me with the worst ones.
It really catches my attention that it's not this me. I would only go to a pie fight. That's a good one. Raul Sanz.
This pie in the face?
Pie in the face. And I didn't get to do that in La Limona.
Oh, how nice.
Well, what if it's not good?
Greetings to Marco Antoni. Greetings to Honduras. I always watch both of you, sometimes live or recorded. Greetings, Marcos.
Greetings, Marcos. What's the worst cake? If the one you mentioned isn't horrible, that thing?
Oh, well, I didn't like it at all. The Black Forest cake, I don't like it. You don't like it? No, it's just that the cherry flavor, it's like it's not a real cherry. It's an artificial cherry. It's way too much. And please, for who knows how many things. Alan Macias says they commented that the Bnei Barak are Hasidic. They haven't even enlisted in the army, and the Aryans attack with their missiles. Unfortunately, it continues. To begin with, they are against the existence. Many are against the existence of Israel. They don't speak Hebrew. I mean, they don't even pay taxes.
And it's an issue?
It's a serious issue.
Yes. Greetings from Mari Quintero from Panama. Tuned in. This is great.
Greetings, Mari Quintero.
Greetings to Jose Fuentes, Mari Quintero, and Elena in Puebla. How are you? Hello to everyone from Tehuacan, hugs to my colleagues, and support for those who are sick. We had rain and hail today.
Go ahead. Greetings to Octavio, he says. Will Trump's son be drafted, or will they invent problems like his father's ingrown toenails? Paranoia, Visna, that's how it is.
It's just that he's a bit sick.
He's got a stomachache, yes.
Yes, don't blame Mexico. He didn't copy the tacos from Mexico.
Yes, it was Mexico.
And because of Mexico, they're not going to blame Mexico. It's always like, now they liked it, right?
Yes, I told them wrong. Cabian, how are you?
The lemon one. You don't like that one, but give me the lemon one.
And the lemon bread, the one they call pound, I think in English they call it pound, like cake with bread. It's like the one I made last time, the one for my 5. Do you all love it? Greetings to Jose Fuentes, Hipepe. Greetings from Mar del Sol de Zapote.
I know which one is for that.
I've never seen it, my dear.
Yes, Zapote cake.
They said they lost and couldn't handle Afghanistan where people wore huaraches, and this was the 3rd time. Thank you. Greetings to Juan Lafontaine, who says hello.
I'm curious if Zapote cake exists.
And well, of course, why not? Why? Because it's a fruit?
Oh, I thought it was aporte, like someone who jumps.
Says Juan Lafontaine. Hello, don't forget the recent moves by North Korea and China against Taiwan. Yeah, not everyone is there pretending they're not watching us. Isn't she from Tapatia? Is that the case where she refused to go to war? Yes, well, yes, her reasoning was understandable. She wasn't in favor of that war.
And well, what's really famous is that moment in the United States. It's been documented a lot, and there have been a ton of documentaries about how, well, no,
I mean, also,
a symbol against the war.
exactly. Also, well, at that time he said, well, let's go, but let's go as second-class soldiers separate because they didn't have rights in the United States. Well, not all the rights. So why the heck are you going to have us? You force us to go fight when we don't have those rights that others do. There's the zapote, the zapote, the zapote, zapote.
What is that zapote like? I don't know.
It's a dark fruit. No, as far as I know, look it up.
I thought it was like an ingredient for food. They tell me that you add zapote, zapote, black zapote. It says
sopilote. Ha ha ha.
I mean, aside from the fact that vultures have a bad reputation sometimes, even though they're very useful and very necessary.
Super useful.
But to me, it's been very interesting. Honestly, look.
Their face is clean so they don't get dirty. That's why they lack feathers.
I find the pylons really interesting, honestly, and seeing them up close is impressive.
Because they're huge, their wings look really big, he says. Beto Barbas. Hi, as a scale modeler, especially of military vehicles, I have quite a bit of knowledge about war. Okay, the more we know about war, the more we love peace, says Beto.
A comment from your greetings. Hey, where can we see your work? If you want to share some of your work, we would love it. If you have something cool,
share it with us in the community so we can see your work. Greetings to Mauro. Mauro says, what if I was a great warrior, but my PlayStation broke? Raul Sex says, this is the most demanding. Yes, yes, yes. How crazy, says Raul Sex. That's the smartest thing. If one day Mexico goes to war, you have to go to a country that is at peace, says Raul Sex.
Greetings, Raul. How have you been? Thank you very much for that super chat. Greetings to Tijuana. How are you doing over there? By the way, greetings. Also,
Pioneer says, he says it's disrespectful if I'm 43 years old, so that means I'm left out of the army.
Yes, now I want to go. Now I want to go. Now I want to go.
I didn't want to.
But since they don't want me to go, I'm unsure. Greetings.
Thank you very much. Very discouraging.
And to the Slovenians as well. Armando says he would send his mother-in-law to be good for war.
To be good since she has a sharp tongue. Greetings to Mini Videtos. Greetings. His name is Miguel Miguel.
He doesn't say. He missed it.
He does the move for you. He didn't miss. It's a plant.
The beans, he says he missed that one. No, the one I'm talking about. I mean, what I'm saying is if I am...
What I said.
If I said it, it's a me. I've heard it as an ingredient.
If it happened to her and it passed her by?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. It's just that it's the oak bread. We don't have bread. There's no power and it's closed.
That's Mamie. He says nothing. Thanks. No. Well, yeah, I've exercised, but let's see.
Check. Maybe it is Mommy.
I know.
I don't know. Or the zapote. It says zapote there. Yes, that's right. It says zapote. Maybe it looks like Mamie, right? If it's zapote or...
That's what it says there.
Yes, zapote season.
Look, here is this fruit.
Season?
It says zapote. I mean, I don't know why. Maybe it's wrong. I don't know.
No, maybe it looks like it. It could be that it looks like it.
Look, here it is. It's the zapote. Look, that other one too.
It's the same one.
No. It's different. The pit is different. Ah, yes, that one must be the zapote.
Are you looking for zapote, guys? It says Caribbean.
Guys, zapote.
That's just one word. Okay, let's see. Do you use onion in carrot cake? You don't like carrot cake? Onion?
Yeah, look, there it is. It looks like it. Yeah, look.
There it is.
I mean, that's what shows up as Chico Zapote.
Yes, it says there. It says exotic fruits.
Mami and Chico Zapote. Now, Mami and Chico Zapote are related. Mexican archaeology. No?
It's a meme. Well, we're going to have a discussion here.
Look, the Mami says, and the Chico Zapote, Mexican archaeology, says...
They're relatives.
They're relatives, okay?
It's like Dominican plantain and regular plantain. I say greetings to Daniel Gonzalez. He says meat pie.
Says Daniel and Mamie.
One of the two, and Mamie is there.
There he is. Differences.
Let's go, Angel.
Let's look at the differences. I mean, why are you hitting me?
Because you hit me first?
No, you're hitting me, he says. Let's see. There he is. Look, this is Mamie, and they look a lot alike. Yes.
One is larger, the other is smaller.
Ah, Canyon, there it is. Look, that's Zapote, and the other one is Mamie, right? I mean, there it is. Look, which one do you like more?
I've never tried it. I haven't tried either of them. It doesn't say.
It seems like flavor or something at least.
Well, who knows? Greetings to Thelma Ortiz. She says to set the example that theirs should go first and then ours. That's what Thelma says. Is the hairdresser leaving already? No, yes. If they're going to war, Barrow should go first.
First, Barrow arrives and we take him. Then we're sure to go.
No, the date has already passed.
Right.
It's already expired.
How many does he have? Yared?
Well, he has to be older than us.
Yared Costa? Yeah, check it, he says. My father is going to be like 43 years old. Coincidentally?
No, because the daughter is my age or older. Let's see. It says he's 45.
45.
Okay, yes, no, he's already too old.
He's already too old. No, this guy's done, he says. It looks like he had a kid.
He says the boy, the shoe is smaller than the Mamie and its skin is softer. And he says, Marcelo, I like tres leches cake. Oh, yes, it's delicious, he says.
The mame is more fibrous. He says, okay.
Okay, and he says, Verderi being in favor of war is crazy. He says, Verderi, greetings.
Yes, Verderi. Greetings, Verderi, he says. He says Marcelo likes the 3 milk cake or dessert. Yes.
Yes, greetings, MTK, he says. Hello, Pepe, he says. There are a lot of videos on social media about storing food in case of shortages. What do you think? What do you know about it? Is it wise or is it a panic measure?
No, I don't think so. Look, let's forget about war. War doesn't exist. There are no tropical storms, no hurricanes, no earthquakes, nothing. Assuming no, I think it is very valid. I feel like there should be a culture of prevention, just for prevention's sake, maybe.
Maybe. You get sick?
You get sick or lose your job. Your family loses their job. I don't know what. Hey, well, look, there won't be a lack of food. I mean, I think so. I mean, besides, there are a lot of non-perishable options, you know, to have. We've lost that habit, but we have talked about trying to gradually apply it. To have a little box, you know, it's not about a big storage room, just a small box, that's all. And say, every week I go and buy a little extra, I don't know what. It's not about hoarding either, just having a little bit of this, you know, for at least a few weeks. Yeah, no, it's not about, you know, like they say, panicking either. None of that. It's just about having an extra one. Just as a matter of logic in case something happens. If something comes up, you know, well, you've got it there.
Mm-hmm.
We had that habit for several years. And it was a box, not very big, but it could fit a lot of things, right? A little box, one of those plastic ones, kind of like a big Tupperware. That's where we would put everything together, and it was almost like we did a grocery trip and a half of just non-perishable things. And with that, we left it there. And we never needed it, even though we lived in a hurricane zone, we never had to use it. So, in December, when the season ended, we would start taking things out of there. Like some jam, some beans or tuna, and I don't know what else, we started using it. And by the end of winter, I mean by the next spring, we would start filling the box again. The box would basically be empty and we would start filling it up again. So I think it's not a bad idea. I mean, not because of the war, just out of pure logic for prevention. It doesn't hurt, and if I'm storing food, the one who saves is never in need.
But yes,
it's a phrase that...
Says Daniel Gonzalez, I don't think any country would say that war is good. But then why do they keep justifying it? And it goes on.
Good point there, Daniel. A big greeting.
I think war is only justified if your country is invaded. Otherwise, you shouldn't have to go to war. No.
No, this one says, well, with you, baby, it says, I hope it's not a big mistake on Trump's part, it says. Greetings, Rocio.
It says, did Pepe kick you when I was coming to pick up my daughter? In the sky, you could see pink lightning, not bolts. They were lights like when it's about to rain. What could it be? Something like ozone in the air or some gas in the atmosphere?
I'm not going to check.
Yeah, crazy. No.
No.
Don't do it. Don't drive. No, yes.
No, I hadn't heard it. Yes, no, and it was at night, right? Yes, and it was at night. I mean, okay.
Well, I think so. Greetings to Ruth. Zambrano says, good morning, Pepe. I'm just saying hello and thanking you for the information. Thank you very much, Ruth.
Thank you very much. Greetings, Ruth.
Very good, says Raul Sachs from Europe survived dying of hunger in World War II. They grew potatoes. They grow in the ground and you can't see them. He says, yes. Also, they protect you against radiation, right? Or they absorb radiation, or no, they don't absorb radiation. The potatoes, because I recall the Mars movie, were the only thing that could grow due to the radiation. So they're immune to radiation. Something happened with the radiation and the potatoes.
He says, I bought extra since I don't know how much prices will rise and for the discounts. Yeah, of course.
What caught my attention is that for about 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, tomatoes were extremely expensive. Yes, and now it seems like the price wants to go back down and they're at 30, but it went up to 65. It's ridiculous.
And didn't you take the lime?
I didn't see it right now. No, I didn't see it. Greetings.
The lawyer. It's 40 pesos right now, yes.
So was it strange to see avocado and tomato at the same price?
Yes, yes.
About 2 weeks ago, says Cecilia, Yucatan Peninsula. Oh no, not for us, she says. Comment, Chris, what's going on? She says, today I saw lice. They were just hanging out, but later I saw a video where they actually detained a guy. He tried to escape, but they caught him. Oh, my son just showed me a photo of the lice people at the airport, probably from the guard. Hey, they're just kids. They're at most 18 years old, I think, because of their age. But how is it possible that they give them those kinds of jobs? Greetings to, and if here they have a place to keep a can, thank you very much, yes.
Thank you. It's done. The can is ready. Awesome.
Do you want their email so they can send photos of their work?
Yes, go ahead, go ahead.
I think so. Greetings to Caribe. They say, let's grow vegetables and mushrooms, Caribe says.
Well, greetings, Caribe.
Because mushrooms are very nutritious.
Yes.
If you're not going to have meat, then eat mushrooms, he says. Aparicio Gonzalez. Congratulations on the channel. I discovered you last week. Greetings from Uruguay. Greetings, Aparicio. We hope you'll be with us for a long time, just like many in our community who have been here for years, 17, 10 years.
We just celebrated 10 years on this channel, although we didn't broadcast at the beginning, obviously, not this, or just a little. At the beginning, just a little. But the channel is already 10 years old, YouTube reminded me. Not this. Look.
A decade, it says. Sarate here, now listen while I handle greetings. Sarate, greetings, greetings. And Roble says, wait, greetings, Roble.
Jose says it's Jose Aroa. There he is.
Aurelio Garcia says, here at the gas stations, before there were people asking for money, now they go around with their container asking for gasoline. Wow, that's good, I know, because it keeps going up, right? Yes, and about the gas, I think the gas is what scares them the most in Europe specifically. I imagine so, yes, because it's not just for one thing, it's for a lot of things. Greetings, says Nova's dad. Joke, let's see. Hi, beautiful, what's your name? Stay away from me, can I call you Ale? Mention a book that has changed your life forever. The Civil Registry book. Greetings, Nova's dad. He says, hey, when some fruit or vegetable that I usually buy is too expensive, I don't buy it or I cook with what I have. Yes, I should do that. The thing is, tomato is in everything. It's basically in everything.
Yeah, it's a little complicated.
There's tomato and lemon.
But we try to do that too. Yes, with vegetables and fruits as well.
I remember that there was a time when I was a child that lemon got really, really expensive. I think that's my logic, and my mom would buy just one lemon. They sell it in liquid or powder form. They used to sell two options. One was like dehydrated and the other was a liquid. I imagine it was fake, right? Yes, and it looked awful. They were the worst. I still remember the taste because I used to eat a lot of soup with real lemon.
And you would add some of that.
Adding that would ruin the soup for me, so it was very traumatic.
Nala, many thanks and greetings, she says.
Greetings, Christy.
Comment, she says. Storing tomato sauce takes up a lot of space. I recommend making it into powder. Same with strawberries.
Okay.
Very good. Is it really that complicated, Christy? I'll check YouTube. There's probably a tutorial now.
Of course, that What If I Follow You? From the Green Route, The Mysteries of the Little Star, now with Lily Hostel. Yes, those were the days.
Yeah, those were the days. Hey.
Good times.
This yes, no, it's amazing. It's amazing. We want to be happy thinking about the Green Route. I said, what if I do a broadcast every now and then, at least once a week? And every time we've kind of picked up the what's it called? I want to speed up, not with the... First, I say I'll return to the channel weekly, then I upload 2 or 3 times, and then I stop. You just can't handle that much work, right? So if I need to, if I ever end up doing it, it would have to be something like that. Like really just once a week or something like that. That yes, it can be done and you can choose a really good topic, says Altagracia. How have you been? The Dominican Republic?
Says Raul Sachs. Mushrooms are nutritious, except for the ones at the end. Yes, well, no, preferably not. When I met them, they didn't even have children. Greetings! How about the tomato? Well, there's a very good canned tomato with milk that I do buy. But it's used a lot for pasta, for soup, for many things, says Olga. And what happened with the files? Yes, they are, yes.
Nothing, nothing, nothing.
The files have nothing?
Nothing, nothing.
Quiet.
Yeah, no. I mean, if that was the idea...
Well, in Cuba, there's not much. Lemon is scarce. A pound costs 1,000 pesos, but a pound is measured like in the United States.
But 1,000 pesos?
1,000 pesos? How much is that in dollars or rubles?
I mean, 1,000 pesos?
Just to give us an idea.
When you say it must be really good, you say there are a lot of yeses, right? I mean, that's what I've thought and what has been conveyed, either live or in person, so that it's like that. More like basically therapy for the remaining travelers, the ones still out there, and for me too. No, basically because these are topics that just don't fit here. They don't fit. They're going to remove those who don't know, so only over there. No, that's the only way. So if suddenly, even for therapy, even for, what's it called, psychological balance, I need to bring up those topics, right? Because if...
He says, my life and you, it's like a freezer at home, always with the same vegetables. Meat is very expensive. He says, my life and you, yes.
The reason is that on a promised level, a lot, but if I'm saying it, it's because I really, really mean it. No, this isn't like that.
Yes.
Because when something excites me, I start to feel like I want to be grateful.
Then she gets distracted from other things.
This year I've learned to that good things also have to be balanced. So I'll tell you about it later because I'll explain it to you. The route, yes, I'm going to do it once a week, just once, but that's it. We'll set a date soon, just that. Let me sleep on it, basically, to ask about the techniques, your wise advice.
Wise advice, you say 1,000 pesos, $2. I mean, that's 35 Mexican pesos, and well, it's more expensive here. But the thing is that what's wrong is what they get paid. No, because the other day I was listening to an interview where I criticized journalists and all those things over there in Cuba. He was asking a lady, for example, about her expenses, and the lady said, I earned 2,500. She cleaned houses. It was the only job she had found. Obviously, she has a degree like almost all Cuban colleagues, but her job is cleaning and they pay her 1,500. No. In Cuba, she says, oil costs 1,000 pesos and I don't know what else. I don't remember the other thing too. So I can't. I mean, if I buy it, I can't spend on things like that.
If it's not...
I mean, it's not possible for me to buy anything. And well, if what's wrong is the payment, the price isn't exactly that bad.
Marcella, yes. Mostly that's the thing. I mean, the topic of the mind, the mysticism, that's the part I'd be interested in following. Not so much the stories. I think there are a lot, and it's not the part I like the most. I mean, I like the stories, but what I liked the most was that part. The mystical part, or the part about the strange planet. It's not the kind of things I like the most.
Says Messi. The Secretary of Defense, who, well, is a drunk, well, not good at all. Today he watched a video again that the people from Fox News made, who went, right now it's the breaking, as they say, the spring break, they went to the beaches. I think they were from Florida, and they were asking the kids, well, they're kids, but they're already 18 and older. Not about the everyday topics we talk about here, not about Venezuela or Iran. I don't remember what topic they asked him. But basically those two, hey, they didn't even know where they were. They didn't know what was going on. I think it's possible they were so disconnected from reality and from what their country is doing. One of them said that Venezuela was in Spain. Imagine that. Another said, well, Iran, I don't know where it is, but just drop a bomb on it. And it's the same attitude as Pichet. Do you realize he has the brain of someone on spring break? That's where he stayed. Greetings, says the quote. It's around 1,500, says Roblo. It's not more expensive, I didn't forget. It wasn't at 1,000, but now it's already at 1,500.
Imagine greetings, Roblo says. Go ahead, Gastrida. Try returning to the green route. He says no.
Well, it's just that he can do it. The thing is that he needs to have time to rest, to spend time with his family.
Yes, above all, it's that part of, I mean, how to balance it, basically. It's not about whether it can be done, it can be done. The main thing is just how to balance it. This is already an issue, a topic that we've been dealing with for a while now. It's just that we haven't. The approach has been different because basically it's not about reviving any channel. That's not the idea. Instead, the idea is literally to talk with those who want to talk once a week. And that's it. I mean, basically that's it, right? I mean, to talk about those topics and not much else. I mean, what I don't want is for it to turn into like, oh, so it's a project that, no, I mean, it is what it is.
To let out that information, it's not to hear it from you because I'm very strict with myself. Don't you talk about your own topics? No.
I do talk like that, but no.
Obviously, that's how we play.
No, man, all of this. It's just that, Aunt, I used to do those things. Every day I learned and every day we shared things because it was like that. Since it's a community, I still think so because many are still there and this. And we shared really cool things. You know, there was always something, a new fact or something new. So you can only achieve that by talking. And how do you do it? Because even with your best friends, you don't have moments like that. I've been wanting to get together with some friends of ours for months, but we haven't been able to. And then on top of that, the 2 times we've made plans, both times something happened that, let's say, made it impossible for us to get together. So there's just no way. But through a channel, in this case a podcast, maybe I'm already retired. Can those coffee shop conversations still happen? Basically, let's go. Well,
Right now, I just want to check. I don't know how Beto Barba sent an email. Let's see if it arrived. That's all.
Yeah. Let's see if the email arrived. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I'm good, right? Jose Aroba, let's see.
Yeah, no, what changed?
So, it's Pepe, right? Yeah, Pepe, right? I mean, not Pepe with an E.
With just peas?
Yeah, with just peas. Yeah. I said it right. Like we said, I had some doubts. Okay, that's it. The email is Jose at...
You try logging in. Mine works fine, so I'm not sure what's wrong.
Yeah, right now I have to restart right now.
The editing?
He shared parts of the work with us then. There it is.
Oh.
Wow, did you really go all out with that work?
Yeah, it's really nice.
Really great.
My brother used to do the same thing, but with little medieval figurines. He had a lot of them. He made clothes for them, the swords. Well, obviously, he also painted a lot of them.
Well, but here this is for work?
Yes, this is work. And it has to look real, so it doesn't seem like too much.
Yeah, I imagine here it has to be with the exact proportions, right? And everything.
The scale issue, of course.
The scale? Yeah, if you look at it, it looks nice.
It's good, cool. You really outdid yourself.
Yeah, that's crazy. Just look at that. What a job.
Yes.
The tires even look used.
Worn out, yes, they look worn out. Well, the mud and hey, let's see what else. No, the others.
No, but it's just that I'm looking at the details there. I mean, what about this? This could be used, for example, perfectly for making an animation or for doing some action scene, or it can't be moved. I mean, it's immobile. No, not that one, but the others. Just look. Wow, what characters are those? It sounds to me like, no, who knows, yeah.
But it's just that Ruta Verde sounds like Canal Vegan to me, yeah, right?
Yeah, it's the whole Ruta Verde thing that always sounded like there it is. Look, just the...
What's the caterpillar called?
The caterpillar, yeah, if we went back it would probably be to podcast 78, that's the channel that's a bit more active. No, because there are a lot of things there and I think that's where it could be, he says. Oh, how beautiful it is. So very... Your work is very impressive. Honestly...
Yes, they're aesthetic.
They're static. They don't move.
Okay, great. Very good. Let's look for sources for Diego. That's a greeting to me, concluded Renino. Very attentive, always following your news. Greetings to Rene.
Greetings to Rene as well, of course.
Greetings to Rene. He also asks about the war's environmental impact. Yes, we've discussed it.
But you have to be someone special.
Be someone special, yes. Greetings to Fernando Ferrero, and to Ruben Williams. How are you, Ruben?
Greetings, Ruben, and to the whole community. Well, thank you very much. We'll see each other in a little while. We're going out really early, not every day, but lately, for the last week and a half, 2 weeks, we've been going out until 5 in the morning. With an update report mostly, but, well, those reports won't come out every day. No, yes, but, well, we're trying to update throughout the day what's happening, right? Thank you very much. Have an excellent day, an excellent night if you're watching us live. And well, that's it. We'll see each other in a little while. Tell me your name. I'll answer you. Fernando Ferreira. Greetings, Fernando. Great. Greetings to the whole community. We'll see each other in a little while. See you later. We interrupt your regular programming.
Well. Thank you for tuning into The Truth.
This is Pepe Live.
The truth is intense. The unusual is real. Here we analyze it. Global perspective. Don't miss out. Connect to the channel. Pepe Live controlling the signal. Pepe and Astrid telling it like it is. Raw journalism, here it's respected. Turn on the alert, don't lose track. Until next time. Yes, sir.
We're taking attendance.
Subscribe.